Hello guys, I hope you're all doing well. Welcome to Fancy Talk Show. My name is Fancy Wanena, and today we are here to talk about an interesting topic, schizophrenia. I know that's a jargon. So we have an expert who will take us through this topic. But before that, let's give her a minute to say hi and introduce herself.
Hi everyone, my name is Cynthia Kariuki. I am a counseling psychologist and I'm really excited about today's topic.
Asante sana, Cynthia, for being on board. And we want to start by defining what is schizophrenia.
So schizophrenia is a mental disorder that affects our ability to think. It also affects our behaviors and our emotions.
Okay.
Yes.
And so I know our viewers will be wondering, what are the causes of schizophrenia? Maybe you can take us through.
So schizophrenia is caused by several things, and the most predominant one has to be genetics. It's genetically passed down or hereditary. So if you have someone in your family and they have schizophrenia, the chances of you getting schizophrenia are very, very high.
Okay.
Yes. So the other thing that causes this are environmental issues, such as trauma. So either early childhood trauma, especially early childhood trauma that remains unresolved, tends to cause schizophrenia and other mental illnesses.
Okay.
Yes.
And so what are the signs and symptoms of schizophrenia? Maybe how would we know that the person we are living with is affected by schizophrenia or even ourselves?
So with schizophrenia, the symptoms are so out there. And so amongst the first things is when we're diagnosing someone with schizophrenia, there must have been at least 2 or 3 of these. So the first one is delusion. So I told you sometime we spoke back, a delusion is a false fixed belief.
Yeah.
Despite there being evidence, conflicting evidence.
Yeah.
So when I gave you an example of, like if I were to believe that I am a unicorn and I have a horn here. So you might give me the evidence of a photo. You might also give me the evidence of a mirror. And you tell me, look at yourself, because the mirror reflects who I am.
Who you are.
Yeah, right? So, but beyond that, I still believe I am a unicorn.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
So there's also hallucinations. Hallucinations have to do with perceptual disturbances. So perceptual disturbances such as, that is with outside of any external stimuli. So such as auditory hallucinations. So people start to hear voices. There are people who are talking to me, that the voices that are talking to me and they're telling me to do this and to do that. And you find that people tend to engage in things because the voices are telling them to do that. And again, this is the people that are hearing these voices, they can hear them, you can't hear. And you can't also see the person talking to them. So there's clearly no one talking to them. So we also have tactile hallucinations where someone feels someone is touching them or there are things touching them all over them. It just has to do with touch and their skin. They just feel something is touching them. So sometimes their clothes are too much for them. And so sometimes these people undress. We also have olfactory hallucinations that have to do with our smell. So you'll hear them say something, I wonder, something like eggs. I smell eggs somewhere, yet there are no eggs there. There's completely no eggs there. Or they smell something like the weirdest, the most distinct smell you can think of. They
and it's non-existent.
Yes, and it's completely non-existent. There are also other many examples of hallucinations. Yeah. So there's also something we call disorganized speech. So there's a lot of frequent derailment or incoherence. You cannot even understand what this person is saying. So, and that has to do with a speech disorder or a thought disorder. So another symptom is grossly disorganized or catatonic behavior. So with catatonic behavior, we see things such as waxy flexibility or no movement, no response to communication, no movement, they're not responding to stimuli. So you might find that a patient, well, when it's very sunny, you'd expect someone to seek a shade, right, and water, right? But you'll find like a patient will stand in the sun, frozen to ako tu hivo, and they're not doing anything. They're not trying to get to the shade. They're not Even if you put water there, they will not even react or say thank you or acknowledge there's water or even try to sip it, no matter how thirsty they are. So there's absolutely no reaction from external stimuli. So you'd expect that maybe it's raining, the person will do this, or
But
maybe
they still stand in the rain.
yes, or maybe they've stood for too long. So you need to sit down because you're tired. They will not have that. Or maybe they've sat for too long.
So the responsive part of the mind is affected.
It is heavily affected, totally affected. You remember we talked about schizophrenia affects our behaviors and our cognition. So our minds normally tell us what to do. So if my mind and my emotions tell me to do something, I respond to that. So if I feel thirsty, my mind will tell me, Cynthia, you're thirsty. The system needs water, right? And so what would be the emotional reaction? I would feel thirsty, right? There is a need I feel. And so what will be the reaction? I'll take a sip or take a glass of water. So with them, there's absolutely no reaction to any of these stimuli that are there. Yes. So something else is we have negative symptoms. So negative symptoms are such as asociality. They completely lose interest in social activities. They also have issues of fatigue, or they have diminished emotions. You would expect that if something is funny, we are all laughing. This person, again, they have no response. They're just there. They have no response to external stimuli. So if you were watching a comedy and everyone is there and they're finding
and everyone
it funny,
is laughing, they're like, "What are you laughing, you guys?"
It's not even like that. There's nothing. There's not even a smile. Not even the facial expression. Like I remember,
They're just there.
They're just there,
like a log, like something
completely
emotionless.
Exactly, motionless and emotionless. I had a patient who he came in. He was catatonic, right? And I remember I could call his name and he wouldn't even react, even turning his head towards where the voice has come from, or even scrunching his voice or his face, sorry, like this, or smiling. There was no reaction, no facial reaction whatsoever, no bodily reaction whatsoever.
Wow.
You'll call him there again and again, and it's not that he's ignoring you. There's no ignoring you.
He's totally not connected.
He's just outside. He's just in another realm, and he just can't respond to what you're saying. And with him, he could stand in the rain, he could stand in the sun. If you didn't get him out of that space, if he sat like this early in the morning and you didn't get him off that or engage him in something else, he will remain like that for the whole day. Not even stretch out or try to sleep. If he's sleeping, he sleeps like that. If he'll just not move. That's just how bad it gets.
Wow.
Yeah.
So does schizophrenia get to kids?
Yes. Children are also affected by this. I remember the youngest case I've dealt with was 9 years old. A boy who was 9 years old. Yes, it was really interesting because with him, he had something we call persecutory delusions, right? So he felt he was in danger. There were people out against him, just trying to take him out, And then he could also see some black things chasing after him. And so he'd run, and now, the child gets lost. Because for him, he's running away from this, which is
from the danger,
him, right? So he ran away from home a couple of times, and that was a really disturbing thing because this child, he was just playing outside there with his fellow kids, but right now,
wow,
you can't find him. It's day 1, it's day 2, and day 3. When you find him, he's petrified. He's so scared. So something else, another thing we find with our schizophrenic patients is that they are areas of influence, either work, either school, that is if they're a student, or parenting. These areas of their life, they are heavily affected. So again, if they were working, they can no longer work. If they were studying, they can no longer study. Because again, this person, they might come to class and then they start hearing the voices. And one of the things you notice is some of these people try to block their ears because they want the voices to keep quiet, right? So, and with such behaviors being out there, people, I mean, look at you some type of way. You don't want to be out with people, which is also something else that comes with the disease. You don't want to be out with people because, I mean, you're hearing voices. It's disturbing to be out there. No one is talking, but you can clearly hear a voice telling you something. You know, no one is touching you, but you can clearly feel the clothes are no. You just want to remove them. You see, so it severely affects every area of our lives. And so the much you were achieving prior to getting sickly was more, but now what you are achieving is way below average. So it's a really it deteriorates really quickly. There's no such thing as quite progressive, like, you know, like small, you know. And also another thing with schizophrenia is when we're diagnosing it, it must have been like for a period of 1 month in the last 6 months. We or rather you experienced these symptoms. They were very clear to you and even to those around you. So schizophrenia is not just something you stumble upon and we're like, you know, this has just happened. Again, don't forget that there are illnesses which go for a bit of a shorter period of time, such as psychosis, and they have similar symptoms to this. But with schizophrenia, it goes a very long period.
The symptoms are prolonged and
persistent and prolonged. Yes. And so something else to note with schizophrenia is, because sometimes when people take abuse substances, we tend to think, you know, or rather they tend to experience some of these symptoms. Sometimes when people are high, they hear stuff, they see things and stuff like that, right? So, but with schizophrenia, it has to be outside of drugs. There's absolutely no drug influence that has caused this. So we must ensure that when we are diagnosing a patient with schizophrenia, it is not the influence of a drug. Yes. So schizophrenia is a really, I don't want to call it a very common one, but it's quite common. It is actually there. It is here with us. Our people are sickly. And how we respond to it, we've not responded to it in the best of ways, because sometimes we just think ini mapepo. In Kenya we say ini mapepo, right? Aombewe. So you find that sometimes, because again, healing takes time, right? So we are not taking these people to the places where they're supposed to receive their help from. Yeah. So we are tying them, we are beating them up, right? Because some of these people end up trying to commit suicide because why am I the different one? Why am I hearing these voices? And
so it also causes esteem issues.
It brings in a lot of esteem issues, because why am I the only one who is hearing these voices?
Differently.
Plus, I know I'm acting differently. My friends don't want to be associated with me because, again,
they don't understand me.
Right? No one understands you. It's an experience that is only
it's a very personal experience.
Yes, it's only known to you. Because now imagine if I was telling you, I can hear the voices and they're telling me A, B, C, and D, and I'm here with you, and there's no one else here, but I'm telling you the voices are telling me to go, and they're telling me to go far away and do this and do that and do that. You see, you look at me like, what's wrong, Cynthia? Like, what's happening to you? You'll not really understand me. And the other worst part about it is they don't stop. I can't tell them to shut up, and then they shut up. They're very persistent. So and they don't quiet down until maybe now proper interventions are
in place.
Yes.
You know, I'm thinking of actually our children. Maybe sometimes we are fast as parents to judge. You know, this child is not responding because maybe of 1, 2, 3. And little did you know, maybe your child has an underlying condition. So as, I don't know what you can tell those people around, or what we can pick as a first symptom, you know, to be able to not really to diagnose, but you know, to come to terms that this is not right, what is happening is not normal, and these people, it could be even adults. Okay, but for adults, I think it's easier to pick it up, unlike for kids. Because an adult, I will automatically expect when I call you Cynthia, you respond. So if you don't respond today, tomorrow, automatically I'll be like, there's a problem.
Absolutely.
But for a kid, maybe who even is not in a position to understand what is happening, they cannot even process these emotions and all that. I don't know what you can say about that for parents and guardians and those people taking about, you know, taking care of these kids. What are the first symptoms we can quickly pick and we're like, this kid is not okay?
So kids are very interesting people. One of the things you must realize as a caregiver is if my child or if your child starts talking about an imaginary friend, you need to see a specialist, because this is normally a sign of trauma. So the moment they start talking about, I've been seeing, I've been hearing, that is the first place you need to. Because before we get to things such as disorganized speech and catatonic behavior, it has stayed for some time. It's been ruminating for some time. They don't just wake up and they're catatonic. No, their behaviors we're noticing. So one of the things that you tend to pick up, and it's the most obvious one, again, it has to be either delusions or hallucinations. The moment you hear that, you need to take the kid or even the adult to see a specialist, because it's an outside of this world kind of experience. So it's not something you're really expecting a kid to experience. A kid is meant to play with friends that they are seeing, you know, talk and do that, build friends, nini. But now you're seeing your kid, they are withdrawing socially. They don't want to play with people. They're talking about hearing a voice or seeing someone that you can't see, you know, or even their behavior has really changed. So the moment you notice these first things, and especially to our caregivers, to children, we encourage you, even if you're not the one who's at home with your child, make sure that at the end of the day when you get home, you are catching up with your child. No matter how tired you are, that is your child. You want to ask your child, how are you? How was your day? What did you do during the day? How was your sleep? What did you dream about? Because now in such spaces, now you'll see the kid, especially if the kid is open with you, they'll start to tell you, oh, you know, so and so said this about me, and then so and so I fought with so and so teacher, we did this and all of that and all of that. Kids are normally very open about how they are doing, unlike adults. Before you get an adult to crack open about what they're going through, it takes time. It takes time.
Yeah.
So it's quite an advantage we have when we're dealing with kids. They can, especially when a kid can clearly express themselves, it's easy to pick it up.
Wow.
Never be shy to reach out for help.
Okay.
Yes.
Does schizophrenia affect kids that are able differently? Matters like autism and those other cognitive disorders that we have?
Yes, yes. So with mental illnesses and every other illnesses, sometimes you find this comorbidity. So kids with stuff like anxiety disorders. I mean, when you're having schizophrenia, because again, you're hearing something that no one else can attest to hear. You are feeling things no one else can do, you know, can feel and stuff like that. No one around you can do that. And some of the things that they see, they are very scary. They're very, very scary. So they feel there's a lot of anxiety, because when will that happen again? And if it happens, who'll be there to rescue me? Because last time I was able to run, and then I outran the whatever I saw. Now who will help me? So the thing with these mental illnesses, they don't hazibagui. They don't look at you and then they pity you, and then you're like, you know, because you have schizophrenia, I'll spare you from this addiction. You know, because you're a child and you're just like 6 years old, I will spare you from this. No, 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 no. I tend to say that there's no such thing as I can never ever have this. No one chooses.
Anybody can be affected.
Anybody and everybody can be affected by these things. Yes.
Okay. So we are done with the symptoms and signs. Now we can go to, the effects of schizophrenia to the patient and to those around the patient. Yes. What are the, the first-hand effect the patient feels when they have schizophrenia?
So one of the things that you'll notice with patients is because they are losing touch with reality in the moment they are sickly, they're having these symptoms, they are losing touch with reality. So one, clearly understanding, or rather they lack insight. They lack insight, so they will not even always understand who they are, where they are, what date is it. Sometimes you even ask them, because sometimes we ask this question, who's the current president of Kenya, and they wouldn't know. They wouldn't know. They might even tell
They are
you.
clueless.
Yeah, they will even tell you Mzee Jomo Kenyatta. They will mention him and they're very certain about it. You will ask them what year is it, and they'll tell you confidently 2016. So you'll notice that happens. So again, this person, due to these things that they're experiencing, they lose their social status. So this might have been a social bad. She was always out with people, knew how to handle people, but now she's hiding because of what she's experiencing. And two, the fact that she doesn't really have anybody around her experiencing the same who will even understand her or even hold her hand, because people are stigmatizing about mental illnesses. I mean, no one wants to be around you, and you also feel like no one wants to be around me. So it also affects your self-esteem. Maybe you were that CEO somewhere, you had, everything was flowing nicely, you had an understanding of your company, how things are flowing, nini, but right now you can't even show up to work. You can't even understand anything. Someone is coming to report something, but you're hearing your own things, or you're seeing them as something else, and you're telling them, get out of the office and stuff like that. So such things happen. Something else is, again, sometimes because our families don't even understand what we are going through, sometimes we lose our families. Because again, as Africans, we're really superstitious. We kind of want to understand it like this. They'll start to say, oh, you mixed yourself with sijui what notes and stuff like that, right? So no one wants to even be associated with you because they don't want their family name to be dragged with the mental
People
illness
perceive
issue.
you as dirty and
different,
demonic.
Some have been, some have come to us and they're saying,
and that's very unfortunate,
my family,
because
we
are pushing this person down the pit instead of pulling them out. It's very unfortunate. But I think it's not like people are ignorant. I also think it's because people don't understand. People don't understand, and we've been quiet about mental wellness disorders, and so most people don't know. So unless we keep on sensitizing people on matters mental wellness and mental health, I think we'll keep on having these issues going on, and then out here we say people are being stigmatized, but yani kumbe watu hata huku nje hawaelewi exactly what is happening. Yeah, they can't even tag a name to what is going on. And so the easiest will be demonic. And especially for those who are believers. I
mean, that's why shows like this exist, so that we can at least psychoeducate people and let them know that, hey, this actually exists.
Absolutely.
You're not the only one who's out there experiencing this.
And there's
hope and there's help for you.
Yes.
Another impact that we get to see is the financial impact it takes on both the patient and the patient's family. So mental illness is not cheap. It's not like Panadol that's like 15 or 20 shillings and you're back. You just had a headache only once in a month, and after 20 shillings, spending 20 shillings, you're back completely. So mental illnesses actually affect your entire being, right? And the medications are very expensive. They are very expensive, though our government actually helps us in paying for a portion of this.
Okay, that is beautiful.
That is beautiful. So, and that is in mental hospitals.
Like Mathari Hospital.
Okay. Yes.
Okay.
Yes. I'm not really certain about insurances, but not all cater to these things, and that makes life really difficult for patients.
What is your, do we have enough facilities for the patients? Has the government stepped in terms of facilities and in terms of even specialists who can handle these patients?
So I do. They've really tried. There's Mathari Hospital along Superhighway. It's a really great facility. There are professional psychiatrists. They only get professionals. There are psychiatrists that are there from like 8 a.m. into like the late 7 p.m. We also have counseling psychologists that are there. They're just fully there, and they only get professionals to do this work. So on that sector, I think they've tried, but again, the workload is
We still have
more.
more to do.
We still have more to do. We have
Because
a
now
really
I'm
long
just
way to
wondering, Superhighway, I'm sure we are talking about the Nairobi Thika Superhighway. The only people who are around this vicinity are not very many, and compared, this is a problem across the nation. So probably we could have these facilities in all counties, because I know schizophrenia is not choosing, this place. It is all over.
They've tried, because even in our level 5, I think, and
We
6,
have this support.
we have psychiatrists and
Okay.
we have counseling psychologists or
That's
clinical
beautiful.
psychologists coming
Yeah.
there. So I'm not really certain if every level 5 has that, but they are supposed to. But sometimes you'll find that the severe cases are always
Referred to Mathari.
yes. But now with certain spaces, because some hospitals are not exactly built in a way to support that, and also people don't know that they can get the support at the level 5.
Sure.
So you'll find patients from Kirinyaga and Meru coming all the way from Meru, making sure that they brought their patient to somewhere like Mathari Hospital, which is a good place. It really is. But now that means we need to really stretch.
Yeah, the expansion of the facility.
Yes, yes.
Okay, that is a good insight. Now, having checked on the effect on the patient and on those around the patient, what is the treatment like for schizophrenia?
So we have various forms of treatment for this. The first, again, is normally pharmacotherapy. So where one is prescribed medication by a psychiatrist. I've not mentioned the medications. So again, and the prescription is always personal to you. It for
varies.
You. It's catered only to you.
Yeah.
The medication that a child might take is not the one that the adult will take. So again, it varies with several things. The severity, the age, the weight, and stuff like that. All these things normally come into consideration when medication is in, right? And so with therapy, we can't come in and try to cancel someone who's actively high on delusions. We can't come in and try to cancel someone who's still hallucinating, because you will not be able to get a proper ground for conversation, right?
The root cause.
Yes, you might even go to talk to them and they're telling you, they told me, they're telling me, I still hear them. You can't really get anywhere. So after the patient has taken medication and their symptoms, they have leveled down. So that is where therapy comes in. So we want to understand, how can we really work around with you? How can we help you understand what is schizophrenia? So that even the next time when the first or second symptoms are showing up, you will rush to the hospital to get help. We also want to teach you on behavioral issues. How can you handle certain behaviors, right? We also want to teach you about medical adherence. Because now one of the things that you find, actually the greatest problem that we find with mental illnesses is when a patient is prescribed a particular medication, they take it faithfully up to the day they feel, yeah, I'm okay. I'm actually okay. They stop taking the medication. And that is not the way it's supposed to go.
Okay.
You're supposed to take your medication until your
The last
psychiatrist
prescription
has cleared you from taking the medication.
Yeah.
So when we feel like we're no longer seeing things or hearing things, or our speech is okay, or the symptoms have completely subsidized, we stop taking it because we're like, I'm good now. And that is a major problem. And that is where counseling comes in. We are working with our clients to make sure that they understand why medical adherence.
The essence of medical adherence is important.
Yes, adherence to medication is very, very important. Treatment of mental illness is, nothing is a standalone in treatment of mental illnesses. It's like a pillar where we are all relying on each other. So we need medication and we need therapy.
Yeah, they go hand in hand.
Yes, to form one strong pillar.
Yeah, you can't forgo one and think you'll get the results.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, so people are also doing ECT, which is electroconvulsive therapy. So which has to, again, electricity. So it's kind of like a thing that triggers your brain to action, to kind of like wake up kind of thing. So with people who are again, like the waxy flexibility, where someone is, they're not moving, they can't do this, there's absolutely no response, we do recommend that to be like one of the first things. But again, it's a psychiatrist, as they will see according to the severity of the issue, because we also don't want the mind to learn to always be that waxy. We need the mind to know how it's always supposed to be.
Yeah.
So ECT has come in and it has helped so many people, and it has actually shown positive results with some of these minis, and it also helps recovery to be a bit quicker other than taking medication, because sometimes medication might take up to 1 month before it kicks in properly.
Okay.
So, and sometimes that is not something we want to work with, right?
Sure.
So something like ECT, you might do like six sessions and you're back to taking your medications properly.
Okay.
So yes.
So what are your recommendations as far as schizophrenia is concerned?
My first recommendation has always been, one, if you can avoid taking drugs, any substances, kindly do so. The substances are really, they're destructive. They're not really helping you. It might look like it's glittery, but the whites say that all that glitters is not gold, right?
Right.
So sometimes drugs look like they're very appealing to you in a moment, but again, the kind of effects that they have are very detrimental. So if you can avoid this, kindly avoid. And that is for someone who is either already sick or yet to be sick. The other thing is, seek social support groups. Social support groups are very, very beneficial when it comes to mental illnesses, because you're getting to see someone, a mom who has, if it's a caregiver, you're getting to see a mom who has worked with the child for like 20 years with the same condition, and you get to hear her journey, you get to hear of its successes, and so it's a really appealing thing. It gives you the strength, it gives you the courage to also show up for
yourself.
Yeah, to yourself and even to the person you're taking care of. And also for the patient, it actually helps you to know that you're not alone. You're not the only one who hears these things. You're not the only one who has been experiencing these negative symptoms that have been happening to you. You're not the only one who has ever experienced a speech disorder or a thought disorder. Excuse me. You're also not the only one who is hearing things or seeing things. It helps you grow in a community where people are also having to swallow medications just like you. It actually gives you strength. It takes away from the
pity party.
Yeah, and also feeling like you're the only one on this earth who's going through this. Because even if you go to the hospital and you see a lot of people lined up, you'll also make excuses and be like, this one is here for something else. I'm the only one who's experiencing this thing. So it actually helps. It brings in a community, and communities are very, very important in recovery. Communities give you the strength. Also, something else, let us learn to seek therapy, either with trauma, either with whatever we have. therapy is really important. It actually helps in mitigating a lot. Some things don't have to get as bad as they sometimes end up getting.
Okay.
It also just gives us strength. It's also good to have someone with whom you feel comfortable expressing that, hey, I feel suicidal, I feel like I don't really matter, I feel like, the universe is something else. It's good to have such a safe space where you can be yourself and no one is like on your neck being like, you crazy, crazy, like you gone, 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 like when Mafari type, So yeah, and
There will be some hope.
yes, and let's end the stigma around mental health issues. They happen, and no one is to blame. It's not a point where we need to start beating each other down and be like, oh, this one we need to stop including them in this. And even to our employers, let us be kind to our employees. No one chooses to be sick. In as much as it also affects your company, it also affects them. No one would want such a burden on themselves. No one would want such a burden on their family. It is really painful because, one ends up grieving for someone who's alive. And I call that disenfranchised grief. Because when they're not themselves, they're hearing all of this, and you're having to take care of this person, and you can see they are changing. They're no longer themselves. I don't know who this person is. This is not the child I gave birth to. This is not the mom who always took care of me. This is not my spouse. This is not my friend with whom I've grown up with. Because if you know my friend, maybe she was always the one who was always there. It really is, and it destroys you. It destroys you to see them actually suffer through such. So yes, and even to our churches, let us also be kind to our members. It's not a comment of lack of faith or anything. Yes.
Thank you so much for simplifying this jargon called schizophrenia. It sounds like a big word, and maybe people can relate with the signs, with the symptoms, but they cannot relate with the word.
Right.
So we are really very grateful for, making even time to come and explain to us, to simplify it, to give you insight around this, and above all, to share your wisdom on this, because we are saying we are educating one person at a time in the society.
True.
And in Fancy Talk Show, we say it's a space of learning and relearning. So thank you so much for this. Maybe you can give us a parting shots around this, and also tell our viewers where they can find you, because I know we have opened up a Pandora box where people will want to learn more. Yes.
So to our viewers, I hope you have learned, and you have learned well. And I hope that these will make it a bit easier to understand what might have been going on with you or even with the people around you. And if you are there and you feel that maybe you fall into any of these boxes, kindly seek help either from a psychiatrist or a clinical psychologist. They should be able to help you and direct you properly on where you can get help and how you can be helped. If you'd like to get to me, my number is 0759 134692.
Thank you very much, guys. And I hope anybody interacting with Fancy Talk Show is, you are becoming more aware of, mental wellness issues, mental wellness disorders, symptoms and signs, because we don't want to keep on losing people to this menace of mental wellness. So please make sure every time we bring a guest, you learn as much, you unlearn as much, and you relearn as much. Thank you so much for watching. Please keep tuned for more, episodes. Keep tuned. We'll actually bring Cynthia more and more to share her wisdom with us. But meanwhile, make sure you like, you share, you subscribe if you haven't. And above all, you leave your comments on the comment section. Thank you. Till next time. Bye.